My name is Junior Moise. I'm a Haitian Dominican and I'm a program director for 7elements here in the Dominican Republic. And I want to talk about political security. Political security, your government represents you, your views. You feel safe and supported by your leaders, honors your basic human rights. You have a leader, a governor, a mayor, president, and a political party, laws to protect you. You can participate in marches, strikes, movements, and any activism. Voice your opinion, freedom of speech, democracy. Feel supported by your community, town, state, and city, and country. There's five main topics that I want to cover for political security, and these are selling Haitians to the Dominican Republic, and primarily talk about dictator Rafael Leonidas Trujillo Molina and the beginning of a racial issue between both countries. Discriminatory practices and policies that attempted to deprive people of Haitian descent of the right to a Dominican nationality. Rafael Leonidas Trujillo Molina was a Dominican politician, soldier, and dictator who ruled the Dominican Republic from 1930 until his assassination, May 1961. In 1937, he ordered a massacre that took the life of more than 35,000 Haitians on charge of invading the Dominican Republic. It was launched by the army with common criminal release purposes against Haitians living in the Dominican Republic northwestern frontier and in certain parts of the adjacent Cibao region. Before the massacre, he made his intention clear towards the Haitian community. Clear in a short speech which he delivered on October 2nd, 1937, at a dance in his honor in Dajabon. He accused the Haitians of theft cattle, provisions, etc., and thus they were preventing the Dominican people to live a peaceful life. Trujillo was a man of bad temper, but had many fabricated justifications of such mass genocide. With the crash of the world market and the onset of the Great Depression in 1929, the price of sugar fell drastically. Sugar production was cut, and the Haitian man was no longer in demand in the Dominican Republic. When Trujillo took power in 1931, he began to deport Haitians living in the Dominican Republic using discriminatory and inhuman policies to the Haitian. However, when in the 1950s, when the economic situation became reversed, he took a different tone. By then, he had accumulated more than 75% of the Dominican sugar mill and forced many U.S. competitors out of business. In 1952, Trujillo and Haiti's President Paul Magloire signed a bilateral agreement in which the Dominican Republic bought 16,500 Haitian workers directly from the Haitian government. These migratory sugarcane quarters were kept in wooden barracks where there was no running water, no electricity, no bathroom. Armed guard kept close watch on them. They were not allowed to leave except to cut the sugar cane. However, the Haitian government received compensation for these Haitian workers, but the money never trickled down into workers' hands. What's a batey? A batey is a small village consisting in a few houses and barracks. Batey varied in size considerably. They are located next to the cane fields so that group of workers can live nearby their labor site. They are hidden in the cane fields away from Dominican life. Most of the 400 bateys in the Dominican Republic, since they were originally erected, they had not changed much. They still had no bathroom, no running water, no electricity, no cooking facilities, no medical facilities, and no school for the children. Since the Constitution of the Dominican Republic does not extend citizenship to non-naturalized Haitian parents, these children born in the Dominican Republic did not have birth certificates or any identity paper of any kind. This lack of documentation made it nearly impossible for these children to attend school or benefit from any other social services. These families and these children were denied access to social facilities, education, and medication. These people have no way out of the bateys. They face a dead-end life in the bateys. In summary, Haitian people in the Dominican Republic, whether they were born in the Dominican Republic or not, they live with a great deal of risk to their political security. The government does operate primarily schools to educate the children of Haitians in the Dominican Republic. However, education is only supported until 4th grade. At one point, students have to walk hours away to attend and return from a secondary school. The majority of students drop out of school before high school since they don't have birth certificate. The boys typically begin working construction or in the agriculture sector, and the girls stay in the batey to help take care of younger children in the community. Quite often leads to drug trafficking and prostitution. There's no government or employer-supported healthcare for the people of the batey, leaving the resident health problem to go untreated. This issue is compounded by the environmental health risk, such as the smoke inhalation from the burning, compounded by the environmental health risk, such as the smoke inhalation from the burning of harvested fields, and regular infections due to the adequate wash services in the community. I had the opportunity to interview a Haitian Dominican born and raised in Batey La Grua. His name is Jerry Theodore. C'est qui nom?
Jerry Theodore.
Jerry, qui ça vous fait pour vivre avec combien de temps vous avez depuis vous vivre là?
Moi, je fais ici, je suis maçon.
Et est-ce que vous allez à l'école ici? Hein?
Oui.
Dans quelle classe vous vivez?
8e.
Quelle classe de documents vous gagnez?
Document haïtien.
Ça que fait ou pas de documents haïtiens parce que tu allé nous t'a parlé ou dit vous faites ici?
Oui, moi, je fais ici. Vous connaissez qui veut dire, document, papa, c'est Haiti dominicain, maman, c'est Haiti haïtien, qui veut dire document étranger, comment vous avez un document étranger, il ne peut pas permettre puis au bord document.
Ah ok, ça que fait ou pas continuer avec l'école là?
Oui.
Si tu as une opportunité pour te continuer avec l'école là, ou tu as l'argent et puis tu as un document, qui sont à étudier?
D'abord étudier ingénieur, on est capable de sac de nécessité.
Ah ok. Qui parti dans maçon ou plus remet et puis qui habilité ou gain dans maçon?
Plus remet ferrailleur, moi me ferrailleur en pile. Bien sûr, situation en fait travail plus dans panier tout comprendre. Crépi, c'est lui plus travail parce que c'est lui qui a plus opportunité ici à vous faire,
Qui opportunité qui gagne pour haïtiens qui fait en République dominicaine? Majorité d'haïtiens qui travaillent au fait.
Majorité haïtiens travaillent dans la construction, travaillent c'est clé. En petit de travail dans le bœuf, on est petit travail, c'est travail ça en déficit.
Representation. What happened when a nation erased birthright citizenship? Through a series of laws and court rulings, the Dominican Republic has stripped citizenship from more than 200,000 Dominicans of Haitian descent because of their Haitian ancestry. These people, some of whom can trace their family life in the Dominican Republic back more than 85 years, have had their citizenship revoked from the only country they've known. Now, they're guaranteed no right due to process in any court in the world, no right to an education, no right to essential medical facilities, and nowhere to call home. In a sense, what the Dominican Republic has done was to create an underclass of people that in the eyes of laws does not exist. Now they have no right to own a property, no right to an education, no right to vote. These people are condemned to poverty. There's laws against these people, but there's no laws to protect them. Some examples are when the sugarcane factory died, these sugarcane cutters had nowhere to go except to stay. In order to survive, they would use the cane fields to grow food for themselves and the family to provide. However, the authorities would come up and claim the land for the Dominican government. What's the current situation in the country after Law 169 and 14? What's a regularization plan and what's happening for Dominican of Haitian descent in the Dominican Republic? Law 169 hasn't fixed the problem of statelessness in the Dominican Republic. People on Group A can get their documentation on the Junta Central list, and if you are not on the list, then there's very little you can do. I think there are more Dominicans of Haitian descent who are not on the list than who are on the list. And if you aren't, then there's very little you can do to get documentation. To address statelessness in the Dominican Republic, the law categorizes Dominican of Haitian descent in two groups. Group A are those one born in the Dominican Republic and registered in the civil rights and therefore have birth certificates. Group B are those born in the Dominican Republic by undocumented parents, therefore don't have birth certificate. The National Regularization Plan was a special initiative promoted by the Ministry, Interior and Police designed to correct the immigration status of immigrants in the country without proper documentation. In December 2015, the Dominican Republic set an 18-month national regularization plan to correct the immigration status of immigrants in the country. Haitians in the Dominican Republic did not have resources and the requirements, and most of them decided to voluntarily go back to Haiti or face deportation. These people, some of whom have never lived before in Haiti, live with the consequence today of facing deportation. They cannot go to public places like airport, bus stations, restaurants, beaches, etc. People of Haitian descent have historically been subject to oppression and discrimination in the Dominican Republic. The great boom of the sugarcane industry in the Dominican Republic entailed opening its borders to Haitian workers for cheap labor force, engendering a great wave of Haitian immigrants that would in most cases be subject to exploitation and marginalization. The effects of this era are still felt today as Haitian immigrants and their children born in the Dominican Republic, 1, 2, or even 3 generations are still being marginalized and discriminated against. Discrimination and racism in the Dominican Republic is not a consequence of this immigration wave. The casualties are multiple, complex, and are deeply rooted in history, culture, and power dynamics. Minority communities, especially made up of people of color, are often subject to exploitation, marginalization, and discrimination as a means to benefit the governing class. Moreover, there is a currently growing trend of violence, racism, and xenophobia all over the world, spread by nationalist authoritarian regimes, exploiting fear and dividing societies in an attempt to protect their own interest. The politics of fear is impregnating immigration policies all over the world while fueling a spiral of human rights abuses. There is a prevalent globalized discount that mixes black with immigrants, violence with immigrants, and violence with black. Certainly, there's an anti-black and anti-immigrant sentiment around the world, causing devastating effects. But what's a specificity of this case? The Dominican state has historically fed an anti-black sentiment referred to as anti-Haitianismo, in Spanish anti-Haitianismo, a racial ideology that comes from colonial mentalities, a relic of Spanish caste system and colonialism. The Dominican state is still feeding this anti-Haitian sentiment with certain discriminatory policies and practices, namely based on skin color, accent, languages, or even Frenchified Haitian names, some of which violate the human right of Dominican of Haitian descent and Haitian immigrants. So we have discussed all these topics in details related to political security. Guys, I'm looking forward to see you here next year or this year, and we can discuss this topic together and learn more about political security in the Dominican Republic.